Let's get to cooking. This is what we're doing today at Mima's house. Hey y'all, welcome back to Mima's house. I'm back in the kitchen and I'm baking a cake. I'm going to bake a cherry almond bundt cake today. So I'm gonna preset my oven. I'm gonna preheat that at 325 and get started with our cake. Let me pull the ingredients out, get my apron on, and we'll get to baking. Here are the ingredients that we'll be using for our cherry almond bundt cake. We'll need 1.5 cups of unsalted butter. I'm using salted because I like salted. 3 cups of granulated sugar, 5 large eggs at room temperature, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 cups of milk at room temperature, 2 teaspoons almond extract, a can of cherry pie filling, and then for the glaze, we'll use 4 ounces of cream cheese, 2 cups of powdered sugar, and I forgot to pull the cream cheese out, but I'll get that. 5 to 6 teaspoons of heavy whipping cream or milk, a large orange zested, 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract, and if you'd like to put some sliced almonds on it for garnish, you can. This is a great recipe that we're going to get done today. I am using a recipe from beyondfrosting.com, and I will link that recipe down below in the description box. So this recipe calls for the use of cherry pie filling. And in order to use the filling, you just want the cherries. So I'm going to drain the cherry pie filling, just the filling off of it, by using my spider. I think my colander would be just a little bit too small, and it would take forever for that filling to come through. So I'm going to use my spider and let this drain. I don't want the filling part because it would make the cake too moist. So let's let this sit. This is the first thing that we're going to do. And then we'll get on to pulling the other ingredients. Now let's set those cherries aside and let them drain. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and measure out our dry ingredients, the flour, the baking powder, and the salt. And we'll get those sifted together. Now that my most favorite part is done, let's go ahead and crack our eggs. And to the cracked eggs, I want to go ahead and add my almond flavoring so that when I add that into the batter, the creamed sugar and butter, it will automatically bring the almond flavor in with the eggs, and we'll beat them sufficiently. Now that we have all of that preliminary stuff done, let's go ahead and cream our butter and sugar. We'll start by creaming our butter together and then we'll add our sugar. And of course, we've creamed our butter and sugar together for about 7 to 8 minutes until it's changed in color and light and fluffy and we don't hear all the granules of sugar in the bottom of the bowl. Now it's important that you take the time to scrape down your beater and your bowl so that all of your ingredients will be mixed well together. Now the next phase is to add our eggs one at a time. And of course, 2 would fall in there on me. So we just want to beat those until the yolk disappears. And we'll add them slowly. But of course, I want to get all of my egg in there because I want my cake to rise and taste delicious. Now that the eggs are added, let's go ahead and alternate adding our flour and milk. Try to keep your flour in your bowl. Mine didn't want to stay in. So I'm going to add it a little bit slower so that it won't make a mess. And remember, we want to start with our flour and end with our flour. Now that that's all done, let's go ahead and scrape down that bowl one more time. And you know, all the ingredients aren't fully mixed until I do my final mix by hand. So let's go ahead and get that done, and then we'll be ready to pour our batter into our cake pan. This is a nice thick batter and it smells delicious. That almond really adds something to it. Now you know, of course, it's time to prepare our pan. But before I do that, let me wipe this counter off. I can't stand all this flour and stuff everywhere. So let's get this cleaned off and then we'll prepare our pan. Okay, I'm not quite ready for the pan just yet, so I'm going to set that aside and work on these cherries just to make sure that I don't have too much of the gel filling in with my cherries. I don't want my batter to be wet. Now, I've never made this cake before, but I just get a feeling that it could make the cake gummy if I left all of that in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour one layer of the batter into my pan. And then I will alternate with a layer of the cherries. And I'll show you what I'm going to do to get them all incorporated in. And you know, with this pan, I like to press the batter down into the crevices to make sure that the actual pattern of the pan will show up and it won't have air pockets all in your cake. So now that I've done that, let's go ahead and add some of these cherries. So I'm going to pretend that this is a marble cake, and I'm going to press those cherries in so that we can make sure that we have cherries all throughout the batter. Before I add the other layer of the batter, let me wipe this cake pan off. I can't stand that either. Y'all know you have to be a clean cook if you want to be cooking for your family. Okay, now it's time to add another layer of the batter. Okay, the second layer of the batter is in. I'm pressing that down too, and we'll add our final little bit of cherries. Let's get them all swirled in and pressed down so that they can be beautiful at the bottom of the cake. Now, as per usual, I'm going to shake it down and press it together, tap it down so that it don't come running over. If you know that scripture, you know what I'm talking about. I said it all wrong, but it pertains to this cake. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in our preheated 325-degree oven. Okay, y'all, so the cake is in the oven. You saw what I had to do with the cherries, and that is going to make that cake very moist. But I wanted to make sure I got as much of that filling part off of the cherries before it made my cake too gummy. So we got it baking. It'll bake for about 45 to 50 minutes in that 325-degree oven. And I'll be back when it gets done. Mom. So the recipe called for the cake to bake between 65 and 70 minutes, and it did just that. So you see, I just pulled some aluminum foil off because the cake was getting a little bit browner than I wanted to about midway through. So I'm going to go ahead and test this with a toothpick to make sure that it is done all the way through, and it is. It's time to come out of the oven. Ooh, isn't she pretty? And she has the house smelling fabulous. I can't wait to cut into her to see what it tastes like and what she looks like. So while the cake is cooling, I'm going to go ahead and mix together the cream cheese glaze. I've used my 4-cup measuring cup to go ahead and add all of the ingredients for the glaze. Once that's all in there, you can go ahead and mix this by hand. Yes, it's going to take a little elbow grease and a lot of patience, but it can be done within 5 minutes. So, give yourself some grace. Go ahead and mix it and get all of that cream cheese and powdered sugar mixed together. It takes no time at all. So once you get the powdered sugar and the cream cheese together, you can go ahead and add your heavy whipping cream a little bit at a time, because once you get it in there, you can't take it out. So add just a little bit at a time until it gets to the consistency that you would like. It does not have to be pourable. It just has to be nice and creamy and silky so that you can place it on the cake and it will do what it's supposed to do. Glaze the cake. The recipe calls for 5 to 6 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and I think I added about that. A quarter of a cup is about 4 tablespoons, so it came to be about a quarter of a cup, a little over a quarter of a cup. Okay, so the cake is done. I pulled it out of the oven. I'm going to let this cool for about 30 minutes. The toothpick came out clean, and I have mixed up the glaze. It tastes fabulous. You know, I had to taste a little bit. Forget the keto, I had to taste it a little bit. So we're gonna let that cool for about 30 minutes, flip it over, and then we'll let it cool a little bit longer because I want it cool before I put the glaze on. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, let's get this cake turned out here and get it on the cake plate so it can cool a little bit more. And, ooh, she's beautiful. Yes, I love it. Oh, she's pretty. Okay, so the cake is cooling. She's still very warm. I just flipped her out and she's still very warm, so I'm going to let her cool just a little bit longer, about 20 more minutes until she's good and cool to the touch, and then we'll glaze her. Then we'll do a taste test. Okay, let's go ahead and cut the cake. Ooh, she cuts like butter, so that my little taste tester, whichever one it is, can come on in and test this cake. Now, not only does this cake smell good, it looks good. Let's see what the taste tester has to say. Okay, I got my taste tester here. The OG taste tester. You like it?
Delicious. I get all the flavors in there: orange, cherry, almond, and that's it. But
yeah, but it's good. Good.
I like it. It's very
I think that orange really does add something to it. Let me see that little piece you got there. Delicious. Okay, y'all, so there you have it. My taste tester, the OG taste tester, said it is good. She tastes all the flavors, and the crumb of the cake is very soft and moist. It's just a nice cake. It really did bake up well. So give this recipe a try. Fix it for a Sunday dinner. It is fabulous. Y'all be blessed. Bye. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I do hope you give this recipe a try. It was very easy and it was delicious. So here's a couple of videos and a playlist for you to watch. Y'all be blessed.